Well, it looks like we're 12 in the dot, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you guys, first of all, for joining the Patient Partner webinar. We do have a series where we put these out about every other month, so please stay tuned for more. My name is Lydia and part of the Patient Partner team. We will also be joined by Rachel McCam, who is registered dietitian at the Old Del Mar Surgical, which is here in sunny San Diego. And she will be discussing the diet, nutrition before, during, and after weight loss surgery, and really covering everything in between. She'll talk through what recovery looks like, any diet questions, and much more. So we're so excited to have you, Rachel. And then Judy's also here, and she's 8 years post-surgery and looks amazing. And she will be here to kind of share her story, share her personal insight, and kind of what she went through. So really, really excited to have you guys. Thank you. And for all of those that who are not familiar with Patient Partner or haven't been on the platform yet, I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the platform and who we really are and why we're so passionate and are so involved in the bariatric community. And so Patient Partner is a platform that was built for patients by patients. And our sole mission is to connect patients that are looking to go through surgery and are just not sure where to turn, and pair them with a patient partner mentor who has been through that journey, who can really hold their hand, answer any questions, and be there for them. And you know, with bariatric surgery, we've just seen that as be such an important part because it's such an emotional surgery to go through. So having that mentor and having that one-on-one relationship is just so important. But we do, you know, for the platform overall, we do deal with all conditions, treatments, or procedures to really just help the healthcare industry be as simple as, you know, any other part of life can be. So, you know, and what is a patient partner mentor? And Judy's actually is one of our mentors. It's, again, someone who's gone through surgery and is just ready to help and ready to be there for someone in need. And it's really easy to sign up on the platform to be matched with someone and have them go through the surgery, whether it is pre, during, or post-op. You can also join our platform and join the discussions there with multiple people at once, ask any questions for your surgery, any diet questions. And Rachel, I'm sure you poked around there and maybe can help answer questions on there as well. And the amazing thing with our patient partner mentors is that they are 100% volunteers. They volunteer their time because they understand how important it is to have a buddy throughout this whole process. And in turn, Patient Partner donates to their charity of choice. And we're actually really excited to announce that for 2021, we just donated over $20,000 to 100 charities across the nation. So we're so excited. And so it's been our way to give back to the mentors, to, you know, every single charity that they listed. So we're really, really excited to be part of that. And again, thank you, Judy, for your time that you've put in as a mentor. So to introduce you guys to Rachel, again, she's a dietitian based here in San Diego. She is super passionate about sharing her knowledge and supporting the bariatric patients every single day. She's been such a great asset, and I've heard her talk about, you know, diets and just what to expect before, during, after. And Yeah, I'm so excited to have you dive in, Rachel, and kind of go through some of these things that we'll be covering. As promised, fat diets, why they why they don't work, and kind of getting into the details of that. The stages of pre-op and the post-op diet, some myths of, what you can and can't eat after surgery. And then, of course, Judy will share her personal experience of just what she's seen work for her and others in the community as well. And then we will turn to Judy to kind of walk through that. All right, so I will go ahead and turn the floor to you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Linda. I'm Rachel. Very nice to see you all and really happy to be here and be a part of this. So I'm really passionate about bariatric surgery, about weight loss surgery, and really helping people take control of their lives and of their health. So if you are interested, if you're attending this webinar today, you might be wondering, what are some of the requirements in order to qualify for bariatric surgery or weight loss surgery. And just to give you an overview, some of the general qualifications are that you have a BMI that's over 40, or that you have a BMI that's over 35 and at least one obesity-related comorbidity. That might be diabetes, that might be high blood pressure or high cholesterol. So there are certain conditions that we want to address in a healthy way, and having some of those things might preclude you to considering weight loss surgery. The other thing too is that you've tried other things of having healthy weight loss and keeping it off, but it's been really difficult, and that you've had these prior attempts where it just wasn't working for you. So in order to just to give a bigger overview of what the average timeline for weight loss surgery looks like, the first thing that you would want to do is have a conversation with your doctor. Is this something that they would consider or that might be a good fit for you? Then you would likely meet with a surgeon and go through all of some of their requirements. Sometimes that might mean meeting with a cardiologist, meeting with a psychologist, that this is the right time, that this is the right surgery and option for you. And then you'd likely be working with a dietitian as well in order to get you prepared for what the lifestyle is both before and after surgery. So getting to the point of surgery can take between 4 to 7 months. Once you have that surgery date, you will likely be on a special diet that's a pre-op diet meant to prepare your body for surgery. And that's a short phase. Generally, most practices have that for 2 weeks. And then after surgery, you're in this early recovery phase for about 2 to 3 months, where you are starting to try different textures, which we'll go into later. Then overall, after surgery, you have this 1-year time frame in order to lose the weight that you're looking to lose, and to use that time frame, that year after surgery, not only to lose weight, but to build a foundation of habits that are going to carry you beyond the surgery for many, many more years. And anybody who has had weight loss surgery will tell you, yes, the first couple of weeks, months are rough, but really it's the maintenance where surgery is just something that's a part of your life and you're living your life, but maintaining that weight loss, that's sometimes the toughest thing. So I want to get into a little bit about fad diets. It's the new year still, it's fresh January. Everybody's probably on their New Year's resolution, where you hear different diets and exercise dominating the dinner table, where people are trying keto or vegan or juice cleansing or detoxes. So those are some of the more common diet fads. And I just want to talk about why are some of the reasons they don't work. Well, when you think about these diets, one thing that they all have in common is that they promise that they're going to make you the healthiest version of yourself, or that you're going to be healthier after this, you're going to see results with these diets. And while you can, for most people, it's not something that you can sustain. And a common theme between all of these diets is that they cut out different food groups, whether it's grains and carbohydrates for keto, whether it's animal food, foods or drinks with vegan diets, or juice cleansing, where you're just really cutting a lot of different foods, focusing on juices from fruits and vegetables. And it cuts out, both animal products and some, whole foods. So with all of these diets, you can also get side effects from cutting so many things out, where you might feel fatigued, you have a headache, you feel nauseous. And that's not something that most people enjoy going through. So they fall off the diet, and then the cycle continues. You set up these food rules that don't work for you. And when you fail it, it just perpetuates the cycle of yo-yoing with your weight, trying different things with your food, and your body tends to fight back. It tends to say, hey, I'm not getting enough energy. I'm not getting enough nutrition. I'm feeling really bad. And it starts to slow down any progress that you might be seeing with your weight. And so it's a really frustrating situation where these diets come up and you have the expectation that you're going to lose weight, but then it's not something you can keep up. So at the end of the day, weight loss surgery itself is a tool. It's a great tool, but it's not going to do it for you. It depends on the person using the tool, about creating some of those healthy habits that help you keep the weight off. But it is an opportunity to set a good foundation and to see results that help you stay motivated in order to lose the weight. I will say one thing that can be beneficial that these diets have in common is that they tend to cut out a lot of processed foods, which can help introduce other things to add. But we'll talk about a little bit more of that later. So for the 4 stages of the pre and post-op diet, when you have surgery, you're not going to be able to eat everything right away. Your body does need to heal. So it's important to follow your surgery team's guidelines as to what they recommend for advancing your diet stages. Generally, before surgery, we have patients on a liquid diet in order to have some early preoperative weight loss, but also in order to shrink the liver so that the surgeon has room to work behind the liver to do their best work. And then after surgery, most people are still on liquids for at least 2 weeks after the surgery, just for that early recovery. Once you're past those 2 weeks, then people gradually introduce foods, one new thing at a time, starting with puree foods, because those are a lot more broken down, easier to digest. So for puree and soft food, which include things like eggs, yogurt, well-cooked vegetables, that phase is about until 6 weeks out from your surgery. Then once you're out of soft puree foods and you're tolerating those things well, people are able to eat a variety of foods and a variety of textures. So this is when we really reintroduce the foods that are going to be a part of the rest of your life, still gradually, but just smaller portions. So in terms of common myths about what you can and can't have after surgery, I would say most people are concerned that they can never have insert favorite food here. Their cake or pizza or other foods that you might really, really enjoy. And that's not true. Really, you can have a variety of foods, but the quality of foods that you have may change, where you focus on incorporating more fiber, more protein, other things that you're adding. And in regards to fad diets, those things are cutting things out, cutting versus adding in more quality foods. You can have that piece of cake, but to balance it out with other foods that your body needs in terms of nutrition, and really working with a dietitian to see how you can meet those nutrition guidelines for after surgery through food. So it's all about putting it into context about what you eat on a daily basis. The other thing too is vitamins and minerals. generally with weight loss surgery, you're not necessarily eating as much food. So that means we want to have a little bit of extra nutrition through vitamins and supplements to make sure you're getting enough. It doesn't replace what you're getting through your food, but it is helping you to meet what your nutrition needs are following the surgeon guidelines. Other common myths about foods that you can and can't eat after surgery. Soda and carbonation is something that concerns a lot of my patients. And it's not to say that it's the best option, but you really do want to avoid drinking liquid calories. And in terms of why it's not recommended to drink carbonated drinks after surgery, is that with having a lot of air and a small stomach, if you think about feeling bloated after having some carbonated drinks, whether that's soda, sparkling water, any sort of carbonation, with a smaller stomach, that pressure with the excess air can feel really uncomfortable for people after surgery. So it is generally something that we don't recommend, but you are able to incorporate a variety of foods, and we encourage people to have a variety, but really look at the quality of what they're having. So a couple of helpful tools for people who are interested in weight loss surgery is PatientPartner. PatientPartner is a phenomenal platform where you really get to talk with someone who has been through it before. You can get all of the information from your surgeon's office, from your doctor's office, from your dietitian, but you probably want to talk with someone who's experienced it on a day-to-day basis. That's why mentors like Judy are phenomenal, because they've been through it. The other things that are helpful are using tracking apps like Lose It, MyFitnessPal, Verytastic, just because that's a way to keep track of what are the foods that you're having. Most often we go throughout our day without necessarily paying attention to the foods we eat. So it's good to have an idea. And it's not even something that you have to do long term where you log your food every day. But once you have an idea of what you're doing, it's just a good way to check. Are you still meeting your nutrition needs? Are you still keeping up with your hydration, and still maintaining that foundation that you've built over the time after weight loss surgery? So at the end of the day, weight loss surgery itself is also a tool for everyone who has struggled to try and lose weight, who's tried all of the diets, all of the different things that are out there, weight loss clinics. And it's important to know that you're not alone. There is an amazing community of people who have had weight loss surgery, who have maintained the weight to stay off, that you can really use this as a tool to help you get to meeting what your health goals are. So I want to turn it over to Judy to talk a little bit more about her journey with weight loss surgery. I know she's been 8 years out since she initially had surgery, and she's maintained the weight loss. So an amazing congratulations to her. And then, I'd like to hear, I know many of our viewers would like to hear what you have to say, Judy.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. So basically, one of the things that I feel that I could really contribute to somebody's mindset is that I came from a serious try and fail syndrome my whole life. And if I can show anyone my story, I kind of outline it there. But my whole life was a series of yo-yo dieting, and I've tried everything, and I could never keep it off. And I just, I, in my story, I say anyone who wants to take advantage of this and really set forth on this journey, just know you can do it. Even if you failed 1,000 times, which I did, this could be this could set you for the rest of your life. And there's certain things that we need to do, and certain things that we need to do differently, that I did differently. For example, the support system. I had a very close relationship with my surgeon. I call him my walk on water doctor, because without Dr. Boyrell, I just think that he is one of the main ingredients in my success. And of course, it came from me, my motivation and my interest and my desire to change and my concern for my health. But I recommend people really develop a good relationship with their surgeon. Um, I hated exercise. I was never an exercise person. And I got a personal trainer. If anybody has somehow budget for a personal trainer, it 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 provides accountability. It's important. If somebody does not want a personal trainer, work with a mentor, a partner, but get on a what was really important for me was the commitment to my exercise. And at first it was just my commitment to moving, and the commitment to it was really important. I never had that before. Never was I committed to exercise, and I did it. The first year of my surgery, I call my honeymoon period. It was like developing a new relationship. I was married to it. I took it seriously because Dr. Boyrell explained to me, you've got a window of opportunity here. And basically, he told me, don't screw it up. Use that window of opportunity, love it, work with it, live with it. And it gave me that year, I um, really saw how important it was to develop a habit and really train myself to become, for that habit to become part of my life, which I never did before. And I really took advantage of every day. I got on my Fitness Pal. I had my tracker. I got involved in challenges. Sometimes at night when I'd come home from work and it was raining and I didn't have time to get my steps into the day, I would go to the supermarket and walk up and down the aisles. And I didn't care if I looked like a crazy bag lady going through the supermarket. I was getting my steps in for that day. And that first year, I just took every opportunity that I possibly could to really change my life. And stayed in touch with Dr. Boyrell, stayed active, really was committed to my foods. I don't restrict. I don't believe in restricting. I think that every time I've ever tried to restrict, like what Rachel spoke about with fad diets and cutting out this and doing that, it just made me want it more. And today I don't restrict. If I want something, I have it. But the difference between now and before is I care more about my health now. I care more about this body of mine that I'm responsible for. And I love taking care of it. And I never believed that I could take care of my body properly. I could never be committed to it. And I'm totally committed to taking care of my body now. It's like a baby. I'm like a mom to my body now. So, what else can I say?
That's amazing, Judy. Thank you for sharing your story. I've heard it before, and it's just seeing your picture is just so motivating, as I'm sure it is for others. Rachel, do you have any questions for Judy? Or
Yeah,
any?
Judy, I know we talked a little bit offline about sugar and really how that might have played a role in how you don't restrict, but you still have found a balance with having some other food. So if you could maybe give people an example of what does that balance look like to be practicing it every day, every week, and how can you not restrict but still be able to maintain the fact that you've maintained your weight loss?
Okay, so I don't have like a regimen of what I allow myself as far as sweets to eat. What I allow myself is if I feel like, if I go to a party and I want to have something, I allow it. I just allow myself to have it. If I go to a birthday party, I have a small piece of cake. The good thing that's really worked for me is honestly dumping syndrome, and that's like something on my shoulder that's going, you don't want to make yourself sick here. And I know that if I eat too much sugar, it's not going to be a good result. I am not going to have a good result. So I always keep that in mind. I've learned how much I can have and how much I can enjoy and feel satisfied. And I've also gotten myself in the habit of knowing my limit in that regard. So I mean, I allow it. I don't plan it. I don't say every day I need to have it. I don't say I need to have it once a week when I feel like it. I have it in moderation, and I know exactly what my body can handle.
Mhm. So it was really just more about learning your body, learning what your stomach could tolerate, but still being able to enjoy those foods, just not as much as before.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of exercise, I know that most people can't even imagine themselves being someone who exercises regularly. You know, before weight loss surgery, it can be such a challenge to move and get physical activity. So I was wondering if you'd be open to talking about what changed for you. You know, when you considered having surgery, when you met with Dr. Boyrell, what did it look like to start making that a part of your routine?
I think that, well, Dr. Boyrell has a certain talent about him, and he makes each individual feel like they want to be a better patient for him. I would go into his office and I was excited not just to see the results and the breakdown of my muscle and my fat and everything that we did, but I was excited because I knew Dr. Boyrell would be happy with it. And he just makes me want to be a better patient. So um, I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Well, I was just asking, you know, how did exercise for someone who can't imagine themselves being someone who exercises regularly, how did that become a part of your routine and how did you find success with that?
Okay, so going back to the window of opportunity, I knew that part of my success was going to have to be exercise. It's just, it was going to have to be it. And this is a major decision. This is a big change. And we, as bariatric patients, the more committed and the more we want to put into that commitment, the more we're going to get out of it. So I didn't really think I'm changing. I'm going to do this now. I just, every day, I just put one foot in front of the other and said, this day is this blessing of this year, and I'm not going to lose it. And eventually it just became a habit. And at this point, if I go a few days without exercising, I feel it's kind of uncomfortable. I want to get moving. And it just little by little baby steps, it became a habit. I didn't
Mhm.
make myself, I didn't have a plan of, I'm going to exercise this much every day. I just got up because I never ever was someone who cared about exercise. I just didn't like it. When I was at my top weight, I had a lot of trouble walking even one block. My back was hurting all the time. My knees were hurting all the time. So I just said every day I'm going to keep moving. And my personal trainer really helped me a lot in that regard. There was a lot of accountability there. And that really helped with the commitment too. But every day I would just, instead of thinking of myself as someone who's into exercise and building muscles and all that, I just got out and kept moving and just followed the directions, and it became a habit.
Mhm. It wasn't something that overnight, all of a sudden, you were going 5 days a week to the gym. It was something that happened more gradually than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's fantastic. So, I mean, I think you're a prime example of someone who's really made the recommendations, but made it your own. You know, this isn't just something that we talk about, but it's something that you practice and you've been able to keep up with it for many, many years. And, you know, now you're at the point where you get to share your story and your success and struggles too with other people, because it's not always a rosy picture. There are some days that you might not feel as well, but you've maintained it over these years.
Yeah, yeah. And just, I just want to stress the fact that I never viewed myself as someone who was physically fit and was into exercise. And I'm that person now, and it's just a remarkable change. And I did not decide that I'm going to go from not being that person to being that person. It was just a gradual thing, and I just got deeper and deeper into it. And like I said, it's just a habit now.
Yeah, that first year really sounds like it set you up for maintaining for many more years, and that you were able to do it gradually as opposed to expecting to do it all at once. You use your window of opportunity to really build those changes, and now it's just something that's a part of your life.
Exactly.
So reimagining what your life was from that point to where it is today.
Yes.
No, it's exciting.
Great questions, Rachel. I do want to address some of the other ones that were submitted actually when people got to register. So there's a couple of them up here for you guys. And actually for anyone that's on the webinar, feel free to comment or do the Q&A and we can get to them as well. But feel free to reach out to us after the webinar. We're always here. We're always available as well. But yeah, I feel what are protein consumption recommendations? Rachel, this is a good one for you.
Yes. So for most people before surgery, their protein recommendations are going to change for what they need after surgery, just because we don't expect that people who are working towards surgery, are in the process of preparing, that they're going to have the same needs as someone for after surgery. But after surgery, the recommended protein amount is about 60 to 80 grams for women and then 80 to 100 grams for men. What that looks like in terms of food is really that you're eating enough times a day and focusing on the quality of your food, that you're always getting something that has a protein. Because as you're making these changes for weight loss, you can also lose muscle. So that's why protein is a really big part of a bariatric diet. And to put those numbers into perspective, 2 egg whites is about 12 grams of protein. If you have a Greek yogurt, that's another 10 to 15 grams of protein. You have a piece of chicken, that's 20 grams of protein right there. So it's not necessarily about the number itself, although that can help you keep track of that you're meeting your protein goals, but it's knowing that when you do eat, you want to incorporate food groups that contain enough protein to help meet your goals, so that as you lose weight, you're losing the excess weight and you're not losing your muscle. Judy, yes.
In regard to what Rachel just said, I think it's really important, and something that worked really well for me was I got onto my Fitness Pal, and it just made me really accountable, and it showed me what I was lacking by the end of the day. At the end of the day, it showed me, okay, you got enough of this, you need a little bit more of that. And then I would get to choose what I'd have for dinner based on what I was lacking or not choose because I had had enough of. So that really trained me to be more of an intuitive eater, which I never was. And I needed that help, something saying, okay, this is where you're at. And this is where you need to be.
Yeah. Another thing too that people are commonly concerned about is a protein supplement. And while that is something that can be a part of your food choices, it's not always the goal. I look at it as an extra tool to help you meet what your protein goals are after surgery, especially because in the early phases right after surgery, you might not be having the same variety of foods, but once you're beyond surgery, we always encourage that you get your protein from food, because it's nice to have variety rather than always having a shake or a bar Sometimes it can be helpful for a convenience option, but it's always good to have a variety of foods.
I see we have a question that somebody posed.
Yeah, we can get to this one first and then get to the rest. So one question we have is, I'm 54 years old and I have diabetic ulcer, IBS, and I'm interested in lap band. Do you feel like I would be a candidate for this?
That's something to really discuss with your doctor to see if it's something that they might recommend for you. I don't have a full picture of your clinical health, and I'm also not a surgeon or a physician, so it's not something I can make a recommendation about. But I'd say talk with your doctor, talk with them about what are your options and if you would be a good fit or that this might be a good fit for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, Rachel. And I think too, I know I mentioned this earlier, but we do match, mentor to a patient. But if anyone is looking to or is having a hard time finding an amazing surgeon in their area, we can help you actually do that on the platform. It's really easy. You just fill out a simple questionnaire and then you get the result of a surgeon in your area that's in our network. And, as we have Judy as one of the mentors talking about her surgeon who's in our network, they are all vetted and we absolutely love working with them. So that's always an option. If you guys have specific questions that relates to a surgeon, you actually want to, go through and see if this would be a great option for you, please go on and get matched. It's really easy to do. Let's see. So we have, I think we got to the first one, right?
Yes.
So how does my diet affect my comorbidities after surgery? I hear this one a lot.
Yeah. So in terms of comorbidities, for people who have some, diabetes or hypertension, high blood pressure, your diet really does play a role in some of those comorbidities in that it can impact how you're feeling. And I'd say if you are eating a healthful diet, which is something we recommend to everybody, not just people who are looking to have surgery or have had surgery, then those comorbidities are likely to improve with changes in the quality of food and the type of food with your diet. So after surgery, in combination with weight loss, but also some other metabolic changes, a lot of these common comorbidities can improve. And for a lot of my patients, they do see changes in their medications, either to be reduced or sometimes to be off certain ones completely. It's a combination of all of these things, all of these tools, the diet, the exercise, the surgery itself, that can really change what your picture of health looks like after surgery.
Absolutely. And I think, I guess before I go to the next one, Judy, did you have any comorbidities after surgery that you just saw amazing results with after?
I was pretty close to diabetic. My numbers were very, very borderline, and that considerably changed when my diet improved, and the difference in my heart rate was amazing. My heart rate went from, my resting heart rate was, I think, 72 when I first started, and it's down to 59 now. So I didn't have a lot of comorbidities. I had some, um, what do you call it? What do you call it when you need a CPAP machine and you can't sleep? It's
Sleep apnea.
yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little bit of sleep apnea, and I was pretty close to diabetic. I was pre-diabetic, and all that changed after surgery.
Wonderful. I think it's always so important to hear just from the personal realities of it all, right? and having that success. An interesting question that I just got is, are sugar substitutes and sugar-free drinks and desserts acceptable after bariatric surgery?
Yes. So sugar-free options are a good way to not have as many calories as, drinking sugary options. And they can be a helpful way to still satisfy that sweets craving without necessarily having as many calories. So it can be helpful in terms of long-term weight loss maintenance. But I would also say that it depends on what is the food or what is the drink. If it's something like a sugar-free cookie, there is a point where you have to say, this is still something that's a treat. Yes, it might be sugar-free, but is it something that's holding me back from getting other foods that I need to have more of? In terms of drinks, I think they can be a really great option to add flavor. I generally recommend something like Crystal Light to people because you want to have that flavor with your drink, but not necessarily have as many sugar or have as much sugar. So tea, things like that can also be helpful. But you can have sugar-free substitutes after bariatric surgery.
Got it. All right. And I think we've touched quite a bit during the webinar for best practices to keep the weight off from both of you ladies. But is there anything else that jumps out? Any other piece of advice that you want to add?
Yeah, I would say, build your support team. Weight loss surgery, any type of weight loss, is not something that you have to go through alone. And people who have the best success build a positive team around them, including their surgical team, but also friends and family that are supportive as you transition throughout your journey.
Yeah, I would also say build the support team. That's urgent. It's really important. Get a relationship with your surgeon. Find, if you don't want a personal trainer, get workout buddies, someone to meet and hold you accountable, get a mentor. It's really important to get that support and work with someone who goes through it with you. I also see a question about someone who says they haven't heard back from their doctor, and I recommend bug the doctor's office. Call every day if you have to. Follow up. Make them give you an answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if we can help in any way to as a resource, and really it is, whether it is finding a surgeon, we'll work with you directly. So please reach out if that is happening to you. We'll be more than happy to walk you through, find a really great surgeon in your area, then whose past patients you can talk to, right? And you have this other live review opportunity for that surgeon. So you're not going in blind, but you can actually talk to their past patients and see why they recommend that doctor, and what their journey with them was like. Yeah, so we would be happy to help in any way there as well. Is surgery painful? We get that one a lot. It is surgery. Maybe Judy, you can kind of speak to that. It is scary for a lot of people. At the end of the day, I totally understand.
Yeah, surgery is painful. Nobody's going to say it's not painful. However, it's laparoscopic, so it's not like there's a lot of cutting going on. But there's some discomfort. One needs to be prepared to depend a little bit on pain meds at first. And I did that it was probably only a few days. And then I went to Tylenol, and, it's just part of the deal. You bear with it, and it doesn't last, and it gets better and better every day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. I think the important thing, hearing from mentors and past patients who've had the surgery is that reality, right? We're not trying to sugarcoat everything, and it is being really honest with what to expect and really walk through that path together. So I appreciate you being honest about that.
I
Um,
also see
yeah.
another question about 10 years post-op.
Mm.
And yes, that to carry your relationship with your surgeon is urgent. And if you can't get to your surgeon, find a doctor who can help you get back on track. It's not too late. You can definitely do it. You need to reach out and get support, get a patient partner mentor, work with somebody, get back on track. And it's definitely not too late.
That's great. Well, thank you guys. I think these have been so great. And what an amazing resource both of you have been. I really, really appreciate you joining and walking through all of these. I'm sure our guests have so many other questions. And once again, we're here to help. Feel free to contact us with questions, and we can pass them on maybe to Rachel or Judy if they're personal ones. Please join the platform and ask away on there, create your profile and see what it's like to, connect with people that are going through that same journey. But once again, if you do, need or would like a referral to a surgeon, we are happy to help there as well. And again, just to remind you guys, this webinar was recorded and we'll send that out so everyone has access and can view if you were too busy to join today. We appreciate you guys so much, and I would encourage everyone to join us in the community and look out for other webinars, other live sessions that we do together with surgeons on all topics around bariatric surgery. Again, I thank you guys so much. Rachel, Judy, have a wonderful day, and goodbye.